The news is a horror movie nowadays. We're watching the world beat itself up over sense gratification. Happy New Year, everybody. Well, goodbye 2020, hello 2021. That's cool. What I wanted to basically just pop on and talk a couple seconds on the opportunity that we have when our collective calendar rotates into one. Start off maybe some fresh goals, some fresh ideas on how to make this next year better than the last year. Now, I know there's only so much you can do, as there's been a global pandemic raging on around the world. So what can we do to make this year better than our last year, especially when we're struggling? Spiritual practice is one thing. It's one of the things that I like to harp on to make our lives a little bit more manageable. We face so many trials and tribulations while we try to seek a little bit of peace and pleasure in life. I often wonder why. Why is it so? When I try to do everything right, a lot of things happen. Everything in this life is built up of cause and effect in the material universe. There's laws to nature, and nature's laws are God's laws. And if we can dovetail God's laws with our material life, we hope to derive a little bit of pleasure out of it. That there's suffering in this life, but we also know that there's happiness in this life. Everything we face is temporary. Our trials, our tribulations, and even our successes. Once you reach one plateau, there's another plateau that you have to climb. And that's life, and spiritual practice helps us in life. Now, my guru teaches me a method of spiritual discipline that goes back thousands of years, and probably going back 5,000 plus years back. Today, we have this division, of culture that we put up walls between us. So this untruthfulness and avariceness to religion and stuff like that, is really, really getting more and more hyped up as we become more secular in our world, and we become more attracted to material nature, things we see on television, sense gratification, smartphones and our other devices that keep us and our brain active, in feeling like we're accomplishing something. Really, most of the time, like I said, it's just sense gratification, and it's not accomplishing much to our spiritual goals. How do we accomplish our spiritual goals? My guru teaches a way of following a certain discipline, chanting a certain mantra, and it gets more elaborate the deeper you get into the discipline. But on the surface, it's very simple and anybody can do it. It's by chanting the name of God. Now, God is unlimited. God has unlimited names. You can't limit God. Once you try to put a limit on God, He's not the creator God that can, is in the heart of every atom, which is hard to do because we look at everything through our lens of, material life and sense gratification. Oh, if God's alive, why bad things happen to good people? And there's so much suffering in the children. I mean, these are all cause and effect. We put conditions on God like, oh, I can't listen to this philosophy. It's Indian philosophy. No, I'm not Indian particularly, or I heard people say, so I don't need to listen to Indian philosophy. I need to listen to this philosophy or that philosophy. All I need to say is truth just is. And in all the spiritual disciplines of the world, they express a truth as known to them. Now, the older you go, you start to see where the root of where all these truths came from. So I try to express to people, follow the root, you go back further, until you can understand true, what they call Sanatana Dharma, or eternal religion. So when I'm expressing these things, just because sometimes, I'm wearing a scarf or I got a wrap on or my dhoti, it's just not just that I'm trying to express Indian culture or appropriate Indian culture or even mishmash Indian culture up with some psychology or some that I know and present it. I'm just trying to say what I've learned to be truth. Just like the truth that I've found in my life, whether I'm right or wrong about these things, I've known them to be true because of practical application, not because of some poetic, esoteric sentiment. These are practical, philosophical, and material truths and spiritual truths that we can apply in our daily lives to make it better, to make it more manageable, digestible, bite-sized. But I know we're all going through something. Those of you that say you're not going through everything and everything's perfect, don't kid yourself. Because even at the end of the night, you sit there and you wonder why. And I can tell you why. And it's not just coming from me. It's not something I say, oh, well, I think. It's not just what I think. It's what I've learned. And I've learned this through reading what come before. 5,000 years of history, written language, everything from Egyptians to the Tibetans to the Vedas, to the Bible, to the Quran, to sutras and scripts and texts, to personal experience. With all these things, and as poorly educated as I am, and as poorly I'm able to express it, I hope that we can all find this common thread that runs through all culture, and then build ourselves from there. Because now we have a chance. With things like this computer, we can get along globally, express ourselves, and get on one good foot. Put away the materialism that this computer can also bring. I know the power of thoughts and prayers, and when we get together on something like this around the world, we're igniting, touchstones all around that these thoughts and prayers can move and jump. Happiness, positivity. The news is a horror movie nowadays. We're watching the world beat itself up over sense gratification, man, over material entanglement. That's what all of this is about. They say once we're attracted and entangled in the material life, we start to think that that's all that there is, and that's us. And then, we start to become lustful in our urges, passionate. I need this, I want that. And then whether we get it or can't attain it, somewhere along that line, when we lose, it breeds anger. And anger is just one of those things that is, the antithesis to leading a productive life. Nobody angry should be giving anybody advice on what to do, because you don't want to be like this person. I'm not going to name any specific presidents, but angry people need to step back and let happy people try to, give it a shot. And that way we can further ourselves in our spiritual life. Because when you're angry, you're reactionary. You don't have forethought. You just want now to enjoy now. And this enjoy now mentality has destroyed the planet. At least up to the point that we've got this global warming. We've got, these leaders who are just con artists, all over the world. We've got people telling us one thing and doing another, and we as the population eat it like delicious soup, only because we're lacking the spiritual knowledge to see the wolf in the sheep's clothing. Read something good-hearted that can give you the mindset to go out to the day, and pay no attention to crossing cultural boundaries. Just because we were raised one way doesn't it doesn't box us in to experience the world and learn from what had come before us all around the world. So make this your practice for your new year. Let's become globally conscious. Let's become spiritually conscious. Let's become Krishna conscious. The spiritual vibration there. I want to wish everybody a happy new year on all of those. Goodbye. Hare Krishna.